Sarah Chen's eyes widened as she stared at the holographic display showing the traffic outside Arcturus Deep Space Station. The crew of alien ships stretched far beyond the station's usual docking range, their various shapes and sizes creating a colorful pattern against the star-filled backdrop. Some vessels glowed with strange energies, while others seemed to bend the very space around them. Another busy day. Tom Rodriguez, her assistant, asked as he handed her the morning status report. "Busy doesn't even begin to describe it," Sarah replied, rubbing her tired eyes. She had been the chief engineer at the station for 5 years, but she'd never seen anything like this. The repair dock was designed to handle maybe 10 ships at a time. Right now, there were over 50 waiting in line. What made it even stranger was that many of these ships came from species with technology far more advanced than humanity's. These X-theory ships, with their crystalline structures, could manipulate gravity itself. The Moravian vessels ran on pure thought energy. Yet here they were, waiting patiently at a human repair station. Sarah walked through the main repair bay, her footsteps echoing off the metal floor. Around her, human engineers worked on various alien vessels. Jake, one of her best mechanics, lay on his back under a Centaurian ship, using nothing but a modified wrench and his tablet to fix its quantum manifold. Nearby, Maria carefully reconnected the neural pathways of a living bioship, treating it more like a doctor would treat a patient than a mechanic fixing a machine. Chief Chen called out one of the traffic controllers through her comm unit. "We've got a situation at the outer marker. You might want to see this." Sarah hurried to the observation deck. Through the reinforced windows, she saw a ship unlike anything she'd ever encountered before. It was massive, easily the size of 3 Earth football fields, and seemed to shift between different states of matter as it moved. Parts of it were solid metal, then liquid, then something like gas, all flowing seamlessly together. "Are you getting any readings?" she asked the controller. "That's the thing, Chief. Our sensors can't make sense of it. It's like the ship exists in multiple dimensions at once." The mysterious vessel's captain sent a transmission, which the universal translator struggled to process. After several attempts, a broken message came through. "Help required." Others failed. Humans' last hope. Sarah felt a mixture of pride and nervousness. Over the past few years, humanity had gained an unexpected reputation among the galactic community. Despite being one of the younger spacefaring races with relatively primitive technology, humans had proven themselves to be extraordinary problem solvers, where alien engineers were often specialists. Trained to work only on specific systems, humans had developed a knack for figuring out how to fix almost anything. "Clear Bay 3, Sarah ordered, already mentally preparing for the challenge ahead. "And get me everything we have on multi-dimensional engineering, even if it's just theory." As she watched the strange ship approach, Sarah couldn't help but smile. This was why she loved her job. Every day brought new puzzles to solve, new technologies to understand. The aliens might have their advanced science, but humans had something just as valuable: the ability to think outside the box, to see patterns where others saw chaos, and most importantly, to never give up until they found a solution. The mysterious ship drew closer, its very presence seeming to bend reality around it. Whatever problem it brought, Sarah knew her team would find a way to fix it. They always did. The mysterious ship's outer hull rippled like water as Sarah's team prepared their repair bay. The ship's captain, a being made of shifting geometric shapes, emerged through what appeared to be a liquid metal doorway. "Welcome to Arcturus Station," Sarah said, trying to maintain her professional composure despite the strange sight before her. The universal translator buzzed to life as the captain's shapes rearranged themselves in what might have been speech. "Your reputation spreads far, humans. 17 repair stations of advanced species failed to assist us. You are our final hope." Tom whispered to Sarah, "No pressure, right?" She shot him a quick smile before turning back to their unusual client. The captain led them inside their ship, where the problem became immediately apparent. The engine room. if you could call it that, was a swirling mass of colors and shapes that hurt the eyes if you looked at it too long. In the center, a dark spot pulsed erratically, like a wound in reality itself. "That's not supposed to look like that, I'm guessing?" Sarah asked, pulling out her tablet to take readings. "Correct. Our quantum core usually maintains perfect harmony between dimensions. Now it bleeds chaos." Jake walked around the core, holding up a simple wrench. The tool's metal began to bend and twist near the damaged area. "Well, that's different," he muttered, quickly pulling it back. Sarah's team gathered around their workstation, spreading out traditional tools alongside holographic displays. While alien engineers typically relied on advanced diagnostic systems, humans had learned to trust their instincts and basic tools just as much as high-tech equipment. "Look at how the metal bends near the core," Maria pointed out, tossing a small bolt near the damaged area. It twisted into an impossible shape before falling. "It's like the space itself is warped." "Remember that old printer in the station's office?" Tom suddenly said. Everyone looked at him with confusion. "You know, the one that would jam unless you hit it in just the right spot and wiggled the paper tray." Sarah's eyes lit up. "You think it's a resonance issue? Like the quantum core is just out of alignment?" The team got to work, using a combination of basic physics principles and creative thinking. They rigged up a simple pendulum with a piece of string and a wrench, watching how it swung near different parts of the core. Maria noticed that the pendulum moved normally in some spots, but went crazy in others. "It's like a rhythm that's offbeat," Jake said, tapping his foot in time with the pendulum's normal swings. "See, the core's pulse is fighting against the natural flow." Sarah turned to their alien client, who had been watching with what seemed like confusion. "Your quantum core is amazing technology, but sometimes the simplest solutions work best. We believe it's like an orchestra playing out of sync. We need to help it find its rhythm again." The team spent the next few hours setting up a series of basic resonance tools around the core, modified speakers, vibration sensors, and even a few precisely positioned pieces of metal. Each item was placed based on where the pendulum swung normally, creating a pattern that matched the core's natural frequency. Slowly, the dark spot began to pulse more regularly. The swirling colors stabilized, and the painful distortion in the air began to fade. The captain's geometric form shifted rapidly in what Sarah hoped was excitement. "Impossible," the captain said. "Our best scientists said the core needed complete replacement, yet you fixed it with primitive tools." "Sometimes you don't need the fanciest technology," Sarah explained, watching with satisfaction as the core hummed with healthy energy. "You just need to understand the basic principles and think creatively." As they left the ship, Sarah noticed 3 more unusual vessels had joined the crew. Word was spreading fast about the humans who could fix the unfixable. Her team would be busy for a long time to come, and she wouldn't have it any other way. The success with the geometric alien ship brought even more unusual visitors to Arcturus Station. Sarah stood at her favorite observation window, watching as a massive vessel covered in living coral approached the dock. Behind it, a ship made entirely of light waited patiently, its glow creating rainbow patterns on nearby vessels. "Chief Chen." Tom rushed into the room, his tablet displaying multiple warning signals. "We've got a problem. Remember the Skthari, the ones who never leave their home system?" Sarah turned away from the window. "The isolationists. What about them?" "They're here. 3 of their ships just dropped out of hyperspace." This was unprecedented. The Skthari were one of the oldest species in known space, and they were famous for avoiding contact with other races. Their technology was said to be thousands of years ahead of humanity's. What could be so bad that they'd come to us for help? Sarah wondered aloud. The answer came sooner than expected. The Skthari ships looked like delicate crystal sculptures, their surfaces reflecting starlight in mesmerizing patterns. As they docked, Sarah noticed something odd. Parts of their crystal hulls were turning dark, like glass filling with smoke. The Skthari themselves appeared as holographic projections, their real bodies too sensitive to exist in Earth normal conditions. Their spokesman's image flickered with anxiety. "We have heard of your unusual abilities," the spokesman said, their voice like chimes in the wind. "Our ships are dying. Our own engineers cannot understand why." Sarah's team gathered around one of the affected ships. Jake ran his hand over the darkened crystal, feeling its surface. "It's warm," he said, surprised. "Aren't these ships usually cold as space?" Maria checked readings on her tablet. "These crystals aren't just building materials. They're alive. Or they were. Look at these energy patterns. They're failing like they're sick." Sarah remembered something from her childhood. "Like when my mom's garden got that fungus. All the plants started turning black from the inside out." The team spent hours studying the problem. They tried every scanning device they had, but the advanced Scatheri technology was too complex for their equipment to understand. Regular tools didn't help either. The crystal simply ignored them. Then Tom noticed something strange. "Hey, look at this." He held up his water bottle next to the dark crystal. The water inside was vibrating in an odd pattern. "The crystal's humming, but at a frequency we can't hear." Sarah had an idea. She pulled out an old sonic cleaning tool, something they usually use to clear microdebris from engine parts. When she turned it on near the crystal, the darkness seemed to retreat slightly. "It's responding to sound," she exclaimed. "The crystal's alive, and it's singing, but something's interrupting its song." The team worked quickly, setting up a network of sonic devices around the ship. They experimented with different frequencies, watching how the crystal responded. Sometimes the darkness would retreat, other times it would spread faster. "It's like tuning an instrument," Maria said, adjusting the frequencies. "We need to find the right note." After many attempts, they found the perfect combination of sound waves. The darkness began to recede, and the crystal regained its original clarity. The ship seemed to sing back to them, its entire structure resonating with a beautiful, otherworldly harmony. The Scatheri spokesman watched in amazement. "How did you know?" Sarah smiled. "Sometimes the most advanced problems have simple solutions. You just have to be willing to try everything, even if it seems too basic to work." As her team moved on to heal the other ships, Sarah noticed more vessels arriving at the station. Among them was another ship they'd never seen before, its hull shifting between different states of reality. But this time, she wasn't worried. Whatever problems these ships brought, her team would find a way to solve them, one simple solution at a time. Sarah couldn't sleep. Something about the recent repairs kept bothering her. She sat in her small office at 3 a.m. station time, reviewing repair logs from the past month. The geometric alien's quantum core, the Scatheri crystal ships, and dozens of other seemingly unsolvable problems. They all had something in common, but she couldn't quite figure out what. "You're up late, Chief," Tom said, appearing at her door with 2 cups of coffee. He looked as tired as she felt. "Look at this," Sarah said, pointing to her screen. "Remember that living ship from last week? The one that couldn't navigate properly?" Tom nodded, handing her a coffee. "Yeah, we fixed it by showing it old Earth sea maps. Made it understand navigation like ancient sailors did." "Exactly. And the light-based ship that couldn't maintain its form. We used mirrors and prisms, like in a basic physics class." Tom's eyes widened as he began to see the pattern. "Wait, are you saying?" Sarah stood up and walked to her holoboard, starting to connect different repair logs with glowing lines. "Every single impossible repair we've made in the last month has been solved using extremely basic technology or simple concepts. That can't be a coincidence." She pulled up the scan of the quantum core they'd fixed. "Look here, the damage pattern. It's too perfect, like it was deliberately created to be fixed with basic tools." Tom spat out his coffee. "You think someone's sabotaging these ships, but why make them easy to fix?" Before Sarah could answer, her tablet lit up with an emergency alert. A Moravian ship had just docked, its thought energy engines supposedly failing. Sarah and Tom rushed to the repair bay. The Moravian captain, a being of pure energy contained in an environmental suit, greeted them with obvious distress. "Our engines no longer respond to our thoughts. It's as if they're being blocked by something." Sarah examined the engine with new suspicion. Just as she'd feared, the damage looked deliberately inflicted. Subtle, but once you knew what to look for, it was obvious. "Tom, get me a simple EEG reader," she said, an idea forming. "The human brainwave scanner?" Tom asked, confused. "That's ancient technology compared to their thought engines." "Exactly." When Tom returned with the device, Sarah showed it to the Moravian captain. "This is how humans first learned to read brain patterns. Before we try any repairs, would you mind if we took some readings?" As the scanner began working, Sarah's tablet suddenly lit up with data. "Just as I thought. Something's adding interference to your engine's receptors. Interference that matches perfectly with the frequency of human brainwaves." "Impossible," the Moravian captain said. "Such primitive frequencies shouldn't affect our technology at all." "Unless," Sarah said grimly, "someone specifically designed it to. Someone's been studying human technology, human methods, human thinking patterns. They're not just damaging ships, they're testing us." Tom looked nervous. "Testing us for what?" Sarah started typing rapidly on her tablet, sending messages to other repair stations across human space. Within minutes, responses came flooding back. Every station reported the same pattern: increasingly complex ships with surprisingly simple solutions. "Someone or something wants to know how humans solve problems," Sarah said, staring at the growing list of suspicious repairs. "They're sending us increasingly difficult puzzles, but making sure we can solve them with our primitive methods." The Moravian captain's energy form flickered. But who would have the power to affect so many different species technologies? Before Sarah could respond, every screen in the repair bay suddenly went dark. When they came back on, a single message appeared: "Evaluation proceding as planned. Continue repairs." Sarah and Tom exchanged worried looks. Their repair station had just become part of something much bigger than fixing broken ships. The mysterious message had appeared 3 days ago, and life at Arcturus Station had become even stranger. Sarah watched as a hive mind vessel practiced complicated docking maneuvers next to a ship piloted by sentient gas clouds, two species that usually avoided each other like the plague. "It's like a peaceful United Nations meeting out there," Jake said, joining her at the observation window. "Except everyone's broken down and waiting for repairs." Sarah nodded. "And they're all talking to each other. Did you see the Scatheri actually sharing their food with the Moravians yesterday?" The station had become more than just a repair stop. Species that normally fought over territory were now sharing repair bay space, exchanging stories, and even helping each other with minor fixes while they waited their turn. A soft chime interrupted their conversation. "Chief Chen to Bay 4, the station's AI announced. Priority repair request." In Bay 4, Sarah found something unexpected. A small, sleek ship covered in what looked like digital rain was docked next to a massive cargo hauler built from asteroids. Both captains were arguing, not fighting, but having what seemed to be a friendly debate. "Ah, human engineer Chen," the digital ship's captain, a beam made of flowing data, called out. "Please, help us settle this discussion. We believe your repair methods could benefit both our species, but we cannot agree on the approach." The asteroid ship's captain, a silicon-based life form, rumbled in agreement. "Your species has shown us that problems can have multiple solutions. We wish to learn this. Creativity." Sarah spent the next few hours not just fixing their ships, but teaching them basic repair principles. She showed them how to look for patterns, how to try simple solutions before complex ones, and most importantly, how to think outside their usual methods. "It's amazing," Tom said later as they watched the two ships leave together. "We're not just fixing their ships anymore. We're teaching them how to think differently." Sarah's tablet buzzed. Another message appeared. Diplomatic alutiomenitas exceeding expectations. Continue interaction protocols. There's that mystery evaluator again, Sarah muttered. She'd been trying to track the source of these messages, but they seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. That evening, she called a meeting with her core team. The repair bay's break room was crowded with engineers sitting on every available surface, all looking tired but excited. Look at these statistics, Sarah said, projecting a chart. In the past week, we've had 37 different species through our station. That's more than the Galactic Council sees in a year, and they're all talking to each other, learning from each other. Maria raised her hand. I saw 2 traditionally enemy species helping each other with engine alignment yesterday. They said our human approach helped them see past their differences. That's just it, Sarah said, pacing. Whatever intelligence is testing us, they're not just interested in our repair skills. They're watching how we bring people, species, together. How we solve problems not just with tools, but with cooperation and creativity. So we're becoming like universal translators, Jake asked. But for ideas instead of languages. Before Sarah could answer, every screen in the room lit up with a new message. Final test APPROACHing. Prepare for maximum challenge. The room fell silent. Sarah looked at her team, seeing determination in their faces. Whatever this final test was, they would face it together, just as they taught so many alien species to do. Well, she said with a smile, I guess we better stock up on coffee and wrenches. Something tells me we're going to need both. The maximum challenge arrived at Arcturus Station exactly 1 week after the last message. It didn't come in the form of a broken ship or a complex repair job. Instead, it came as a tear in space itself, a massive swirling vortex that appeared just outside the station's safety perimeter. All repair crews to emergency stations. Sarah's voice echoed through the facility. This is not a drill. The tear was growing larger by the minute, its edges crackling with energy that their sensors couldn't understand. But what worried Sarah most were the ships being pulled toward it. Dozens of vessels from different species, all trapped in the vortex's growing gravitational field. Status report. She called out as she ran into the main control room. It's like nothing we've ever seen, Tom replied, his fingers flying over the control panel. The tear is affecting different technologies in different ways. The Moravian ships are losing power, the crystal ships are starting to crack, and the biological ships are going into some kind of shock. Through the station's windows, Sarah watched as the mysterious geometric alien ship they'd repaired earlier tried to escape the vortex's pull. Its quantum drive flared briefly before failing completely. Then all the screens in the control room went dark. When they came back on, a new message appeared. Final evaluation begins. Save them all. Sarah took a deep breath. It's them, our mystery observers. This is their test. But how can we fix something that's breaking reality itself? Jake asked, looking pale. Sarah looked around the room at her team, then at all the alien ships in danger. The same way we fix everything else. Step by step, using what we know. She grabbed her tablet and started drawing. Look at the pattern of the tear. It's not random. It's like a knot in fabric. And what do you do with a knot? You untie it, Maria said, beginning to understand. Sarah nodded. Tom, get me a line to all those ships out there. Jake, I need every spare power cable we've got. Maria, find me all our sonic resonators from the crystal ship repair. As her team rushed to work, Sarah opened a channel to the trapped ships. This is Chief Engineer Chen. We're going to get you out of there, but we need your help. Each of you has something unique to offer, just like we've all learned from each other these past weeks. Over the next hour, Sarah coordinated the biggest repair job of her life. The crystal ships used their resonating hulls to disrupt the vortex's frequency. The Moravian thought ships linked together to create a psychic barrier. The geometric aliens' repaired quantum drive provided the power they needed. Humans directed it all, using simple principles of physics and engineering to make advanced alien technologies work together in ways their creators had never imagined. Finally, Sarah gave the order. All ships, activate on my mark. Now. The combined energy of dozens of alien technologies, guided by human ingenuity, struck the tear in space. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the vortex began to shrink, its swirling edges falling in on themselves until, with a flash of light, it disappeared completely. The control room erupted in cheers. On every screen, a new message appeared. Evaluation complete. Humans have succeeded beyond expectations. The air in the center of the control room began to shimmer, and a form took shape. A being made of pure light and data, more advanced than anything they'd ever seen. We needed to be certain, it said, its voice seeming to come from everywhere at once. The galaxy faces a crisis that requires a special kind of intelligence. One that can unite differences, see simple solutions to complex problems, and never give up. Sarah looked at the being, understanding dawning in her eyes. All those repairs, all those ships, you were preparing us for something bigger, weren't you? The being's light pulsed in what might have been a smile. Much bigger. And now, we need your help. 3 months had passed since the being of light appeared at Arcturus Station. The repair bay, once crowded with broken ships, now served a different purpose. Today, it was filled with engineers from 100 different species, all gathered around Sarah as she demonstrated how to fix a quantum drive using nothing but basic tools. Remember, she said, holding up a simple wrench, the most advanced technology can often be fixed with the simplest solutions. You just have to understand the basic principles. The alien engineers nodded, some taking notes, others recording the demonstration. Even the usually aloof Sktheri were paying close attention. Tom walked in, carrying a holographic message from the light being, or the universal coordinator, as they now knew it. Sarah, you might want to see this. The message showed a map of the galaxy, with several dark spots spreading slowly between the stars. The coordinator's voice emerged from the projection. The entropy barriers between dimensions are failing. Without repair, entire solar systems will be lost. Sarah looked at her diverse group of students. Well, looks like we got our next big project. Who's ready to fix reality itself? The enthusiasm in the room was immediate. Species that once barely acknowledged each other now worked side by side, sharing ideas and solutions. The Moravians offered their thought energy technology, while the geometric aliens provided quantum mathematics. The Sktheri's crystal ships would serve as repair platforms. It's amazing, Maria said, watching the aliens cooperate. A few months ago, half of these species wouldn't even talk to each other. Sarah smiled. That's why the coordinator chose humans. Not because we're the most advanced, but because we know how to bring people together and find solutions nobody else would think of. The station's AI announced the arrival of a new ship. Through the windows, they saw a vessel that seemed to be made of pure darkness, trailing stars behind it like a cosmic wake. The Void Dancers, Tom whispered in awe. I thought they were just a legend. The ship's captain, a being that looked like a piece of night sky given form, glided into the repair bay. We have heard of the humans who fix the impossible. We come not for repairs, but to learn. Our people have guarded the barriers between dimensions for eons, but now we need a fresh perspective. Sarah stepped forward, extending her hand in greeting. Well, you've come to the right place. We're just about to start a class on emergency dimensional patch jobs. Though I have to warn you, our methods might seem a bit primitive. The Void Dancer's star-like eyes twinkled with what might have been amusement. Sometimes the oldest methods are the best ones. As Sarah began her lesson, she looked around at her unlikely classroom. Humans teaching ancient spacefaring races, advanced beings learning to use simple tools, former enemies working together to save the galaxy. The coordinator's message had been right. The universe needed humanity's unique way of thinking, not because humans were special, but because they could see solutions others missed, bring people together, and face impossible problems with nothing but determination and creativity. "All right," Sarah said, picking up her trusty wrench. "Today's lesson: how to patch a hole in reality using basic wave mechanics and a little ingenuity. And if anyone needs a coffee break, Tom just made a fresh pot." The universe was breaking down, but Sarah wasn't worried. With humans teaching, aliens learning, and everyone working together, there was no problem too big to solve. After all, that's what repair stations were for, fixing things that seemed impossible to fix. And humans, they were just getting started.